Hello, everybody. You are very welcome to Successful Perspectives. Successful Perspectives is when we deep dive into the topic of leadership of one of our members from our very selective and influential network, Boardroom by EMIR. And for this chat, I am very happy to be joined by Tuna Gulenc, the Vice President for Middle East and Africa for Daikin. Of course, Daikin is a Fortune 500 global leader in the air conditioning industry, operating in 170 countries with a workforce of nearly 100,000 people. Tuna, it's great to have you on Successful Perspectives, and it's a pleasure to have you.
Thank you, Frank. Thank you. It's great to be with you.
So Tuna, okay, the first question I want to dive into with you as a leader is, what are the main tenets of your leadership philosophy?
Okay, it's a great question, Frank. I think I could explain with 6 pillars, starting from, of course, it may look like a cliche, but it's a vision. Vision is necessary. You need a dream in order to be passionate about what you are doing, and in order to visualize. And indeed, you don't only have to have a dream, but you should be able to visualize your dream and think about or see where you want to achieve. This is, I think, the starting point. It's quite important. Then the second point, of course, you need a roadmap. You need a strategy. Mm-hmm. The dream is why, but then you need the how, and how are you going to do that? And you need a plan, and you need to understand the market or environment or the competition, the landscape. Everything is quite important, and you need a roadmap how you are going to reach that. This is quite important, the second. And then more important than the strategy, I believe, the execution. You need to mobilize resources, you need to start taking actions, you need to take decisive actions, and organize your resources in order to reach where you want to reach. Mm-hmm. This is the big part of the whole story, in fact. And then you have to be adaptable. You have to have an adaptable and flexible mindset, because whatever strategy you did at the beginning will not work. Will give you feedback. The market will give you feedback, and you will have. And the time will change, the environment will change, and you need to be flexible enough to adapt what you want to do. Mm-hmm. And what's your strategy. And we, again, continue taking actions after another action. And resilience is very important, because it's impossible not to have setbacks. You will have a lot of obstacles on the course, but obstacles, they don't come to obstruct. In fact, they come to instruct. You can learn from them, and you can still continue. And this is in order to be a leader, in order to lead an organization, it's very important to show the resilience and have the resilience first of all, and then show the resilience in tough times, because tough times will happen no matter what. And the last but not the least, in fact the most important one, is leading people, and which means that you need to execute things, you need to reach the results through other people's abilities and their motivation, and which means that trust and empowerment is very important. You need to create a culture that people are able to be authentic. They are able to do what they are able to do. They are able to take actions, and they don't have fear of failure, and you have to empower them to be able to get the maximum from their capabilities. And eventually, with this all 6 pillars, I think you can execute, you can reach to your dream eventually.
Tuna, that's absolutely brilliant. I love the structure and the articulation, and it makes me just think and wonder, as a leader, a successful leader, like, how do you measure this philosophy and its success over time?
Measuring success, it's not very easy, to be honest. Of course, the financial results are important part of business. Nobody can neglect them. We are all the top lines and the bottom lines and the key metrics in the balance sheet. These are very, very important, but this cannot measure success standalone, while we can never neglect them. This is quite important. The measurement of leadership, you need to understand. Also, you need to see, time to time, reflect. How is the progress in the organization? How many leaders are in the pipeline? What has happened over the time, like in your period in your tenure of over 5 years or 10 years or 3 years, whatever it is? How many leaders are developed? How many people stepped up? How many people developed their capabilities and executing in the right way and managing bigger teams? This is also an important, I would say, measurement and reflection. And another reflection can be done on the culture of the company. Are people happy? Are people leaving your company? You can easily measure also this one. You can see reflect how many talent you'll have lost and how people are in the last 5 years or 10 years. How many people has left the organization? This is an important thing to reflect, and everybody makes as a process exit interview. But it's very important for leadership to track this. I think. If you are losing talent or if you are bringing more talent, this is also important. Just to give an example, recently we have got the certification of Great Place to Work. It was very reassuring for the leadership and for all the management of Daikin that we are doing the right things. We were growing anyway. We have grown in the last 8 years three times, and we have increased number of employees by 3 to 4 times. But you cannot just rely on these metrics. You need to see, are people happy, are people are growing. This is also quite important to measure or reflect on the if leadership philosophy, what we are talking about, is it executed or is it just on the ideas or on the paper?
Sure, they're excellent points, incredibly well structured. This makes me think, I know you for quite a long time as a leader for Daikin, and I know last year Daikin celebrated its 100-year anniversary, a phenomenal achievement that only a few companies have actually achieved. And as a regional leader for the business for quite a number of years, what do you feel are the reasons why Daikin was able to achieve this?
Thank you, Frank, for bringing this up. Indeed, we celebrated our 100th-year anniversary last year together with all our partners, customers, employees. As you mentioned, it's very rare for a company or organization to survive 100 years. Less than 0.5% of the companies globally live more than 100 years, and we are proud that we are one of them. And it requires you have to go through constant changing environment in order to do that, and you need to be able to adapt. Not only the companies, but even the less than maybe 100 years ago, comparing to the today's sovereign countries, maybe only 50 of them were in today's shape. So a lot of things change, a lot of in this 100 years. I think Daikin has developed. I can say that Daikin did not only survive but also thrived in this 100 years, starting from a small organization in Osaka in Japan. We have become a global leader of an air conditioning of an industry. We have become a Fortune 500 company. Now we are existing in more than 170 all around the world. I would say 100,000 employees, and it's more than $30 billion dollars in revenue. Daikin became one of the most successful organizations, I would say, both in Japan and in the world in this 100 years.
So, Tuna, excellent. It's great to see why and understand how Daikin has thrived for over 100 years. I'm very happily in the Middle East 11 years, and I'm always fascinated by air conditioning, especially the summertime when things heat up a small bit. And I'm always curious how in the future how AC will look in the modern world.
So further to urbanization, I would say modern workplaces couldn't exist. The healthcare as it is today couldn't exist. The everyday comfort is very important for, particularly in the Middle East, as we are living here. It's not an easy environment during the summertime, but not only the Middle East, I would say all the world, for it contributes a lot to the comfort. And the last thing I wouldn't skip is the technology. The way that technology has evolved and developed could not be done without air conditioning available. Particularly, we can think about even internet or the artificial intelligence, the data centers. Yes, yeah. Very important to have the air conditioning. And as the leader of this industry, our responsibility is to bring this product in the most efficient way, with the best technology, to be environment friendly, to be less impact on the environment.
Now that we know more about Daikin and how its ability to thrive, which is a lesson for us all, and how we look at our career and how we need to progress and evolve ourselves, I want to dive into a bit more around you in terms of your leadership and when you felt you knew you were a leader. Would you consider yourself a natural leader? And if yes, when did you recognize that? And if no, when did you figure out that you needed to work in it?
Okay, it's a great question. I think like everybody, it's a combination. All of us has something in our personality that helps us to evolve as a leader, and we have to learn a lot. I think this is common, and there was not an aha moment that I say, oh, now I'm a leader, but I can say that now when I reflect back, I can see certain things from my personality, like I'm by nature I'm an optimist, for example, and I now understand more and more it's very important to be in leadership position. You have to be always an optimist, and you have to be able to see the positive side, and I would say the full side of the full part of the glass is quite important. I'm a dreamer. I dream a lot, and I understand later that this is very important.
Yeah.
To put a vision, to be able to put a vision, you will need to be a dreamer. And I'm obsessed with execution. I'm obsessed with reaching the targets. This is a part of my personality also. This is coming from the natural side. I'm quite balanced person. I can see both sides of the equation, so I don't look at the complex problems from only one side. That becomes quite important in problem solving, and people will need your let's say problem solving ability in leadership position a lot. So you need to have this. You need to have this equation. And I will say the last. I'm calm. I can stay very calm under pressure. And I understood later that when you are in leadership roles, when you are in such situations, it is inevitable that you will have very stressful moments, very high pressure, and a lot of things can happen. Imagine the COVID. So you need to be able to, not only the COVID, but a lot of things, like you need to be able to calm, and you need to get the heat by yourself, and don't reflect to the rest of the organization. Sometimes it's important.
I can see you're very introspective, which is a big part of being a leader, right? Understanding our strengths and our weaknesses and what we need to work on.
Yeah, exactly. And the last thing I would focus is resilience. This is also quite important. But if I come today's business leadership qualities, that you need to lead a team, you need to motivate a team, you need to have a business strategy. A lot of things are learned on the way, and these are not coming naturally. You cannot say that I'm a natural leader and I will now lead a big organization. You have to. It's a responsibility of every leader to be continuously evolving and learning. And I think I learned a lot from my colleagues. I learned a lot from. I'm working in Daikin for 20 years, and in these 20 years, I work with great leaders in my team, horizontally, my peers or my leaders. I learned a lot from Japanese culture. I can say it sharpened my leadership capabilities, and I also specifically paid attention to continuously read, attend to further educations, and learn and listen podcasts, read books. This is quite important, because you can never say that I'm a natural leader and I'm done.
It's a great insights, Tuna. It's making me just reflect, and for everyone that's watching as well, what's the best career advice you've ever received?
I would say that what has helped me a lot is, I don't remember who said me or a moment that was said to me, but you need to step up and take ownership, and you need to empower yourself before you have a title, you have a responsibility, and you have that position. If you do that always, and if you always think about the long term, you can be in charge of a small function, or you can be in charge of a region, but always you need to think from a global or bigger perspective for the total organization, not just as an employee. But imagine that you are a business owner. What will have you? What would you do? What would be the best for the long term? I think this is if you think like that, always you take the best decisions for the long term, and then you step up, you solve the problems, and eventually, even if you don't have the title at the beginning, or you didn't have the authority or responsibility, it is given to you later on. This would be the best career advice that I would give to every young people who is looking for a career advice. Think like the business owner, step up, think about the bigger picture, step up and take the responsibility, even though you are not in charge yet, and eventually you will be in charge.
Tuna, great answer. A lot of good food for thought there as well. For everyone, thank you for listening to Successive Perspectives, and we look forward to seeing you again soon. Thank you.